Greetings, Earthlings. Do not to attempt to adjust your screen. It is on fire, as usual. Hey, everybody. What's up? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown, the safe space where we set oppression ablaze because we know that something can, will, and must rise from the ashes that is better. Yes, we cannot live under oppressive systems for our entire lives. And I know that's sort of like a sort of arrogant, if not naive thing for me to say, because obviously loads of our ancestors did live their entire lives under oppression. But I think they set the table for us to come to this point in the 21st century to finally strike that match and fire up that kindling and truly burn the system down that keeps us all down so that we and Oz descendants, we can have something better because we don't have to live like this, y'all. We don't have to live under oppression. And anyway, in addition to not living under oppression anymore, how's everybody feeling out there today? Of course, we are joining you here at Burn It Down with Kim Brown from our new location, which is at pretty much the same location, but just a different room inside of our always been location, y'all. This is the fire pit. This is the fire pit. As you see, we got some flamage colors at minimum going on here. And of course, we will be adding things to my background, adding things to the bookshelf. I actually have a couple of crates of books downstairs. I should actually go open them and put them on my bookshelf so you all can believe that I am learned. But anywho, real quick, y'all, let me just say this real quick about the fire pit, because again, this did not just happen. Okay. This took several months. So, of course, let me thank Tunde for all of his hard work that he did in coming over here and helping put this room together to assemble it. There's like lights and shit all around me. He hung up the blackout curtain. So thank you very much to Tunde. Shout out to my homeboy, Markel from High Ridge. My nigga Markel, who I've known since I was 4 years old. Markel came over here and painted this room for me. Shout out to my mama. For my birthday over the summer, my mama bought me this desk. So thank you to mama, and shout out to my friends Ryan and his cousin Evan for assembling said desk for me. So again, this was a group effort, and thank you all to the patrons, because I'm gonna give it a whole fucking buck with y'all. This lights and shit, like I want a new camera and shit. That's all y'all. Like, thank you all so much for seeing the vision, for actually having the confidence to not only watch and subscribe to Burn It Down with Kim Brown, but thank you to our patrons and for everyone who has given us super chats and donated via Cash App and PayPal and Venmo. Like, thank you all really for investing in this, because we want to offer a more professional presentation for y'all. So we don't have to be at my dining room table as I have like honey, like my table sometimes gets sticky with honey because I eat a lot of chicken because I am Negro, and I love putting honey on my fried chicken. So I got honey all over my table. I'd be all sticky and stuff at my dining room table. So anywho, thank you all so much for being able to afford us this opportunity to come to you from a very dedicated space specifically for Burn It Down with Kim Brown viewers and supporters like yourself. So thank you all so much. So who do we have? This is not a smoke room. Who said that? You come on back here. Let's see what we got in the building. Of course, Toby Swelley's in the building. Northern Witch is in the building. Chuck Diesel is here with us. My young bro, Pookie Wood. My N from Texas. What's going on? Is Anna in here with us? Is Alicia in here with us? Radical Leftist Agenda, are you in here? Luke Kang is in the building. And Shirley, of course, my sweetheart, Shirley is in here. Everybody, thank you, Natalie. Hey, what's going on, Natalie? Jonathan Guerrero, thank you so much. Who else we got up in here? Tyler, my nigga. Tyler, I don't even know if you are a nigga, but you my nigga today. Thank you, Tyler Hackett, for your support. I appreciate you all. You guys fucking rock. Kevz 24/7. What the guan, bro. Thank you all. Thank you all for all your support and everything of that nature. Now, I said all that to say, we concluded our subscriber drive last week. And I must say, it was a tad bit underwhelming. I'm not going to hold y'all responsible for that at all. But we hope to have bigger improvements and make bigger strides when it comes to our subscribers. But I will say this. We did crack, what are we, like 1720 followers on Twitter, over 400 on Facebook, 2240 here on the YouTubery, and they're like over 100 on Instagram. So let me not be ungrateful, broad. Thank you all for making the recommendations that people follow us around the internet, different locations. So there is that. Was there something else I was trying to get to? Oh, another thing, housekeeping. Friday night. This Friday is going to be the Patreon exclusive AMA, the Ask Me Anything for November. Our AMAs have been kind of cute. I've enjoyed the 2 AMAs that we did last month for October. So if you are one of our excuse me, 102 patrons. Be sure to drop your questions under the post for our AMA so we can have some questions to get us rolling, to get us started. I'm pretty good at the AMA, and I'm ask me a question, I will answer it. I am not as forthcoming in terms of me just offering up information and volunteering information about myself, unprompted. But if you ask me the question, I am very likely to answer it. So think of some good questions, and I will answer them. Joins this Friday, Patreon exclusive for the November AMA. And if you are not yet a patron, you can easily become one. Patreon.com/BIDWKB. Thank you to everyone who has signed up and become a patron. You can support us with 15% off of annual memberships at the $2 levels, $20.40 for the whole year. At the $5 level, it is $51 for the entire year of support on Patreon. So if you are so inclined and you want to be a part of our AMA this Friday, patreon.com/BIDWKB. And of course, you can support us in other ways. Just go to the About section of our channel and it'll take you there. So without further ado, where are we at here? How many people we got in here rocking with us? Oh, excuse him. Why? Apparently, I got to show up late and shit for y'all come in here and get y'all shit together on time. Okay? Dig it. Noted. Noted. What's up, 80 of y'all? Let me get some of them 80 likes, some of them 80 thumbs up. If you are not already a subscriber to the Burn It Down with Kim Brown channel here on YouTube, please do so. Push subscribe, and we won't fight. Okay, I want us to get, who said what? Patron. Y'all are hilarious. First of all, random side note, I do not do hard liquor often. Rarely do I, but Patron? Yes, when I do the hard liquor, Patron tequila is indeed my shit. I like to drink that shit cold, either with some ice cubes in it or have it come fresh out the freezer and you sip on the tequila. Yeah. But I don't do that very often. Anyway, y'all just needed to know that about me. So anyway, let's go. Hey, let's go. So we're going to start out today's program with a bit of good news. Now, hopefully you have been paying attention. And if you are an internet and or social media type of traversing person, then this is news that you already know. But you guys know that we have been following this story pretty much the entire month, that the Howard University students, part of the Blackburn Takeover, have been taking over the Blackburn Center, the Blackburn Auditorium there on campus. They set up a little tent city where students who were protesting about the living conditions inside of Howard University's dorms, which included water leaks, which include pipes bursting, which include mold growing on the walls, which include mushrooms growing on the walls. I mean, terrible conditions these students were first forced to live under, while students at one of the most prestigious historically Black colleges or universities in the nation. So, but that ended. That's all over. That's all over. And I want us to hear directly from the students, because I'm not going to front. I have some questions. I have some questions. But before I ask my questions, I would like for us to hear directly from the students. So today, let's pop up that A1 for me, please. What this is that we're about to see is a press conference given by the students. And this was streamed directly on the Black Star Network, which I believe is Roland Martin's network, or one of his latest ventures. Now, I said that to say you couldn't really hear shit on this press conference, and I was a little disappointed in Roland. I said, "God damn, Roland, you can't send the kids some mics. You can't get them some earbuds with microphones attached to the little cord. Like, I mean, the sound was atrocious." So the part of this press conference that I selected, honestly, was one of the few parts that you were able to hear. And again, that's just me throwing a little shade to Rolly. And that's no shade to the kids whatsoever. But let's hear from the kids. The organizer that we're going to hear from, the student organizer, she's going to introduce herself, or themselves rather. And let's listen to that. Let's listen to that.
My name is Erica England, and we are here out of love for Howard University. After 33 days of protesting and 20 days of negotiation, we are pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with Howard's administration. Howard concedes nothing without a demand, and we have shown that the power of students is paramount. We would like to thank the Howard community, the DC community, grassroots orgs like Freedom Fighters DC, Harriet's Wildest Dreams. Thank you for putting your arms around us and protecting us and providing and supporting us. We would like to thank our parents who have supported us through this entire demonstration. We want to thank the Howard alumni who have been just invaluable to making this happen for us. The Capstone Group, Howard Alumni United, Mr. Jam, Dr. Jackson, Ms. April Silver. We wanted to thank the faculty and the staff at Howard University, Dr. Carr, Dr. Alfred. We will also so many thanks to Mayor Raz Baraka for conceding on our behalf, Dr. Hewart Brown, Reverend Barber, Reverend Freddie Haynes, Reverend Jesse Jackson. Thank you for praying with us and conceding on our behalf to God. We would like to thank the NAACP for their support and words of encouragement, Howard University law students for providing advice and support to us as well, the Hilltop newspaper at Howard University for telling the truth and speaking truth to power. And we will also just want to thank so much gratitude to Donald Temple, who has represented us and asked for nothing in return.
Well done there. Job well done by those persistent and dedicated, and don't underestimate us, Howard students, and of course to their capable attorney there who has been representing them the entire way, as the students just said, without asking for anything in return. But so what is interesting about the resolution, or rather the settlement that has been reached between the students who were protesting at Blackburn and between the administration? The few details that were released indicated that, number one, the students said themselves that most of their demands had been met, if not all of their demands have been met, and that no punitive action will be taken by the university against the students. So no students will face any sort of retaliation in terms of suspension or expulsion or anything like that as a result of them participating in the Blackburn takeover. Cool, right? But what's not being disclosed are necessarily the terms of the settlement, which I kind of find a little weird, because one of the asks of the students was that the university become more transparent, right? Like, I think transparency was one of their asks. In addition to other things, like I think they got the student representative and the alumni and the faculty representatives added back to the Howard Board of Trustees, which is kind of strange that those positions were even eliminated in the first place. So that was a good win in terms of one of the demands that the students had demanded and apparently has been granted. But the specific terms of the agreement, the settlement reached, have not been released. And one of the organizations that have been working with the students is one based here in DC called Harriet's Dreams. And I have been reaching out to Harriet's Dreams, sort of playing a little like tag, in our DMs. And they had sent me a link to the research that I believe one of their organizers did, detailing the relationship between Howard University and the property management group Corvius. And when the announcement of the settlement came, I reached out to them and asked them, is there still going to be a class action lawsuit filed by the students against Howard University and Corvius, something that had been tweeted about, but I don't think had been formally reported upon. And I didn't get a response from them. So I'm a little curious. Now, I'm invested in this to the extent that so long as the kids are satisfied, I'm satisfied, right? I don't go to fucking Howard. I don't have no children at Howard. Like, if the kids who have been out there sacrificing literally their comfort and safety in the name of this demonstration, in the name of this protest, righteous protest, I might say. If they're satisfied with the terms of this, then I'm gonna be satisfied with it, and I'm not gonna try to pry too much and ask a bunch of questions, right? Because at the end of the day, so long as the people most affected are satisfied with this settlement, then that is pretty much all that we could ask for, is it not? Is it not? So we want to send congratulations to the students of Howard University, especially those who were active in the Blackburn takeover. And one of the faculty that, as you heard, the students there thank specifically as being very supportive of the entire movement of the Blackburn takeover is none other than Dr. Greg Carr. African Carr. He has made some appearances recently on Black Power Media. Dr. Carr is everywhere, right? You kind of have to work hard to avoid Dr. Carr because Dr. Carr is so many different places. But I love Dr. Carr because he spits that fire, right? So anyway, our boy, Chuck Modiano, justice journalist here in Washington, D.C., who has been covering the Howard Blackburn takeover pretty much the entire duration. By the way, 34 days long this protest lasted. And Chuck had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Carr on campus after it was announced that the Blackburn takeover was over. Let's take a listen to what Greg Carr had to say to Chuck Modiano.
It seems to me that this is the beginning. What they have launched in over a month now is a conversation, is the beginning of organizing. What they have launched is a catalyst, and they've also accelerated processes that were already underway. And as a consequence, they've done, in many ways, their job. They've stood for themselves, and we surround them and stand with them. And now, as Raz said a minute ago, it's now time for everybody to play their position. Alumni, faculty, staff, community folk, to hear students bring up issues of housing that connect to housing insecurity here in the District of Columbia, but all over the country, in fact, all over the world. To talk about shared governance in a way that takes on the very model of the corporate university. That isn't a Howard University conversation or HBCU conversation. That's a global conversation because COVID has wiped out the idea of the university as we knew it before COVID. And the hedge fund model of universities, the Johns Hopkinses, the NYUs, the Stanfords, the ones with the huge endowments, the Harvards and Yales and the Ivy Leagues, that's very nice for them. And we see with the strike at Columbia right now, the student strike at Columbia, we see that there is solidarity for this attack, for response to this corporate university. And so what we see with these Howard students, couldn't be prouder of them. They've started the conversation in a different way, and it's up to us to sustain it and continue it. So today, I think, was about acknowledging that, was in many ways a thank you to them for doing that, and also a firm declaration to anybody who would think about punishing these students, who would think about somehow disciplining them for doing what, as Mayor Baraka said, is their responsibility, to let them know that that's a bad idea. Right. Not only is that a bad idea, it has consequences that echo and reverberate beyond this campus, and more importantly, you're speaking to history now. The eyes of history are on you.
The eyes of history on you. And I love the points that Dr. Carr raises there about this notion of a hedge fund university. And I love and appreciate the shout out that he gave to the students at Columbia University up in New York City, who have also been waging a resistance of sorts different than the Blackburn takeover. This is a formal labor stoppage that they are doing, work stoppage up there at Columbia University. But again, circling back to the points that Dr. Carr raised about the idea of a hedge fund university, I went to, let me get back to the chat, because I was going to ask y'all, I was going to say I went to a predominantly white institution, but I don't know if that's actually true. Temple University, how would y'all classify Temple? I know back in the day, in the probably 80s and 90s, Temple was in the same league, I suppose, as Georgetown, not academically, but in the sense that people who had never been to Georgetown University or Temple University perhaps might have assumed that those were black colleges, right? Because they had such very successful athletic programs, with Georgetown obviously basketball and Temple University being basketball also, with Coach John Chaney for a long time being really the face of the college, along with some rapist who shall remain nameless, but But anyway, like the idea that you go to a college with a name, right? A brand name associated with it. And basically that's kind of like what you were paying for. Are you not? The fact that COVID had parents and students literally paying full fucking tuition for virtual classes. I was like, what? They didn't give no COVID discount, no COVID tuition discount for the kids because of COVID. Because for God's sakes, if you were learning virtually, make it make sense how your tuition is at full price if you are not literally paying for the overhead and maintenance of the buildings that you are not physically sitting in. But that is a whole other conversation, but along the same lines of what Dr. Carr is talking about. And I wanted us to take a moment to acknowledge the students at Columbia University who are out there. Like I said, I believe this is week 2 of the Columbia kids strike. And again, I say kids with familiarity, and not to diminish them in any way, but kids in the sense that they are kids and I'm not a kid and that kind of kids, right? So the student workers at Columbia, they are loosely, I believe, attached to the UAW. Do I have that correct? The United Auto Workers, like there's an offshoot of the UAW that is representing these workers. This is their second strike of 2021 with $140 million in total demands for better compensation and protections. And one of the things that the Columbia students allege is that as student workers, they commit obviously a lot of time, especially some of the graduate students who, teach classes, grade papers and do all kinds of crazy shit. And the university, Columbia, prestigious as fuck, right? Don't be paying the kids. Like either they get paid late, missed payments, or they don't get paid at all for their work, right? And grad or undergrad, that college life is a hungry life. And I can remember I wrote for the Temple Times in school and had the expectation that, hey, it probably shouldn't take no more than 1 or 2 weeks for them to pay me whatever, $30 an article. I can't remember what it was. It took several weeks. And I was poor in undergrad. I was hungry in undergrad. Like I needed that $75. And I think I might have cussed people down there at Temple behind my $75. But I can understand totally where these students at Columbia University are coming from. Obviously, New York being a very high rent district. I want us to actually take a listen to some of the sounds and pictures coming out of Columbia University in response to their student strike, #CU strike. Tunde, if we could please take a look at, let's take a look at B2. Por favor.
What do we want? When do we want it?
What do we want? When do we want it? If we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it, shut it down.
The highest paid university president just around the corner over here. More unreasonable than Columbia being among the top 2 largest landowners in the city of New York by any metric. The administration are delusional if they think we're going to accept the ridiculous claims for a need for austerity. We cannot afford not to be here.
I say union, you say power. Union,
Power!
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 union.
Power!
What do we want?
Contract!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
we don't get it.
Shut it down!
The workers
United will never be defeated!
So please join me in telling Columbia, we will never agree with you. We're already asking for the bare minimum. We want to move. That's why we are here.
Yeah.
That's why we, the student workers of Columbia, are on strike. We cannot agree to not have what's already too little, too late. And we will win.
A little bit louder. We're out here fighting for our contract. We are the big union too. A little bit louder. We're out here fighting for our contract.
Today you were young, but much too soon.
Doesn't that just lighten your heart? Don't you appreciate seeing those students out there demanding and advocating for what it is they deserve? And I love the one thing that the one student said, that, you know, we are not here for the bare minimum. We are here for what we deserve. And that is 100% correct. To their credit, the Student Workers of Columbia, along with, you know, their a subsidiary or organizing under the UAW branch. This second strike began November 3rd. So where are we today? Ask me what day it is if you really trick me. If you want me to get the answer wrong. Here we are, November 16th. So they have been, again, the second week of this strike, this action happening at Columbia. The two sides are still fairly far apart when it comes to the points of negotiation, especially when it comes to compensation. But the university says there's progress being made. I think the student workers there might disagree. So again, to see these young people, right, both at Howard and then shout out to the kids down in Atlanta at the AUC, the Atlanta University Center, Clark, Atlanta students, Spelman students, Morehouse students, Morris Brown students also organizing against bad housing conditions, but also, as Greg Carr mentioned in his clip there, like the issues of gentrification and how expensive housing is are affecting these students directly. And not to say that they didn't affect us also when we were in college and of college age, but now it's very much at a breaking point, right? And credit to these Gen Zers and these young millennials. Like, I feel as though they are pushing the envelope further than Generation X was willing or even able to do, right? Because boomers talked us out of a lot of shit, did they not? Like, you don't want to rock that boat. What if, you know, you have problems getting a job? You know what I mean? Well, fuck, what's the job going to me if even if I get the fucking job, I can't afford the rent, I can't afford the health care, I can't afford child care. So anyway, I get encouraged to see these kids, these Gen Zers, these young millennials be rebellious, be fed up, say fuck no, and take stands. So shout out to them. Shout out to the Columbia University student workers, and of course the students at Howard University. And shout out to the Live movement, which is something that has come out of the Blackburn takeover, where HBCU students are going to organize to push their own colleges and administrations to progress and freedom. Okay, like. These HBCUs just cannot simply be incubators for, you know, little neoliberal acolytes, right? Like, don't, if you want them to be leaders, have them be leaders to change the system. Don't have them go out there and basically adhere to the status quo just so they can have a job. You know what I mean? Look at all these people across this country. Niggas is quitting jobs left and right. Right? People are like, fuck this job. There's got to be more to life than just getting a job, right? And I believe that is the sentiment and the spirit that we are hearing coming out of these young people organizing at these universities and these colleges. So that is that. So that is our good news for the day. Taking a little break here. Hey, what's going on? I see we almost got a party of 100. Come on in, baby. Find you a seat. Oh, you can find you a seat. But at the Burn It Down with Kim Brown party, you can't be up on the wall, baby. You got to get up. Get them fingers on that keyboard. Hop on in this chat. Oh, shit. Niggas is running us money. Hey, Tyler Hackett. I see your $1.99. I accept your $1.99, Tyler. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you very much for the flame emojis, everybody. And if you're not already following us places around the internet, please do us a favor and do so. Subscribe to the channel right here, right now. You can do that right goddamn now. Hit thumbs up, hit like on the show if you don't mind. And BIDWKB on Facebook, on Instagram. We're also on the TikTok. You can follow us places there, and there. Okay, so, Oh shit, we're on Twitch. We are on Twitch. We are on Twitch currently, right now. Are we on Twitch? We are fucking on Twitch. What a guan, Twitch. What a guan. I feel... Breckenridge, Mr. Breckenridge. Hey, Mr. Breckenridge, thank you so much. Northern Witch, you gave us an offer of moderation of over there on the Twitch. We may take you up on that if we will start coming over and checking us out. So what's up to everybody checking us out for the very first time on Twitch? Thank you, Mr. Breckenridge, for your support and for your comments for that. And follow us on Twitch, BIDWKB. We are there also. All right, moving along because... So today I might go to the Rittenhouse stuff before I go to the Jesse Jackson stuff. And your dog agrees. The dog said, I think that's a wise move. Because y'all, and again, and I feel a tiny bit goofy, not really goofy, but a tiny bit goofy for, I can't say this stuff is not worthy of commentary because it is, because what we're seeing play out with Kyle Rittenhouse is just the latest the latest manifestation of how white supremacy works and how it even works when it's a white on white situation, right? And I have here in our title, about race traitors, and you have to understand, like, as much as like us. And especially speaking about the black portion of us here assembled here in this here room, as much as we enjoy shitting on people like Kamala Harris and Barack Obama and James Claiborne, and we view them as race traitors, but we don't call them race traitors in the same way that white Americans feel. I'm sorry, let me back that up. Racist white Americans feel about race traitors. Like they don't like that shit, and they will become violent behind that shit. Now, just to compare, there is a long list of coons. I can name you a whole shit ton of coons. Candace Owens, Clarence Thomas, Juan Williams, almost says, Kimberly Classic, the broad, y'all know who the fuck that broad is. Anyway, there's a lot of coons, right? I assure you, most of these coons feel completely safe going out and about and going about their business as they should, right? People can have opinions. People can say what they want. I mean, still gonna be a coon ass motherfucker, but you can have your opinion, whatever. When it comes to race traitory, though, this nation has a long documented history of giving white race traitors the N-word treatment. Did I say it? They get the nigger treatment. They totally get the nigger treatment. White race traitors, that is. And how are we qualifying white race traitor? So a white race traitor is someone that works to either diminish, weaken, or completely dismantle white supremacy, who will set their privilege out on the line in defense of or to assist a non-white person. Double points if it's a black person, triple points if it's an indigenous person, right? Like, there's definitely levels to this shit, right? But the way that the country, because again, we live in a very white supremacist country, right? And as much as some liberals and people would like to think that this country has progressed to a certain point, really, current events continually remind us that we have not progressed all that far. Such is the case with Kyle Rittenhouse. Initially charged with 7 counts of various misdemeanors and felonies. Now I believe he is down to 5 counts. 2 charges were dropped. 2 charges, by the way, that I feel were pretty integral in order to tying the prosecution's case all together. The charge of him being out past curfew, I think, is not something to be sneezed at, because at the end of the day, he was underage. There was a curfew in place. He had no business being there. So if you prove that at the foundational level that he had no business being there, then the rest of your case really falls into place. But the fact that the prosecution was either so sloppy or sort of apathetic about making that charge stick, I think it's going to come back to bite him in the ass. And the charge that he also had dropped that the judge tossed out had to do with him illegally carrying a gun, right? He at the time he was under 18. There's no, you can't open carry a fucking long gun under the age 18 in Wisconsin. Like there's a lot of shit already underway. Like the fix is already in for him to get off. And as much as the fix probably would have been in had the victims been black or otherwise non-white, this to me is supposed to be a signal or a very, very obvious symbol to all you N-word loving white people out there. Pay attention. This is for y'all. Because should you find yourself in a situation where racist vigilantes could show up at an event that is in defense of black lives or other non-white lives or non-straight lives, oh shit, we got money. Y'all dropping us bucks. Hold on. You're in danger. Molly? Oh, not actual Molly. I'm about to do the Whitney, the goddamn Whoopi Goldberg. Sorry, from Ghost. Molly? You in danger, girl. And I just thought about that. I'm like, oh no, not our Molly. Molly, you are not in danger. Although, to Molly's credit, Molly knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Molly has gone out there and been a race trader. Molly, is this you on the Slack? Did they call you a race trader? Oh shit. Hey, what's going on Twitch? We got 11 people over there on Twitch. Molly said we're doing good. Molly, have they called you a race trader? Did they call? Because Molly showed up at the Trump rally in Kentucky and told all them crackers to fuck off. So I'm sure Molly got called a race trader a bunch of times. Oh yeah, she said it was sure. Standard operating procedure, race trader. So anyway. But here's the weird thing. Kev Z 24/7. Thank you so much, honey, for your support. Thank you for your super chat, Kev Z. Appreciate that. So we know that the racist elements of white supremacy do not engender other white folks using their privilege, or dare I say, having the audacity to try to remake this racist settler colonial state that we live in. How dare they do that? Because y'all they fucking it up for all the rest of the white folks. But anyway, so I said all that to say that Kyle Rittenhouse went out there intentionally trying to kill people, right? There's no question about that. There was a video that I didn't pull because I didn't think it was so compelling, but I guess it was notable, allegedly, of Kyle Rittenhouse 2 weeks prior to the shootings in Kenosha, where he was filming people allegedly like stealing out of a CVS, and he said that he wished he had his AR right there because he would start shooting at him, right? There's no doubt in my mind that this little fucker went up there with the intentions to kill people, right? His family clearly knew, or either they knew what he was going to do, or obviously cared very little about his well-being. Why in the hell would you allow your teenager to leave the comfort of your home to patrol loosely the streets of a city in which you don't reside? Allegedly, he said he was there to operate as a medic. He didn't offer any assistance to his victims after he shot them. No one saw him in a capacity of a medic. And anyway, hold on. There's somebody that makes a very compelling case for Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, this person is very well known in these YouTube streets. And this person is somebody who, for reasons I don't quite understand, generally have a very favorable relationship, let's say with the left, I hate to always throw up the air quotes, but it's like the left, like whatever the left is today, this week. But for reasons that I do understand, actually, this person likes to occasionally dabble in right-wing talking points, and dare I say, even sort of make fascists a little cozy. Let's put it that way. But anyway, y'all boy, Jimmy Dore, this nigga was talking extra crazy in defense of Kyle Rittenhouse, and there's only a couple of clips available because the show in which he laid out a defense for Kyle Rittenhouse mysteriously disappeared off of YouTube. I clicked the link from the tweet sent out by his show account. It gone. It went away. It gone. But some very enterprising Twitter users were able to snag a couple of clips. So again, and these are short clips, and people can argue that maybe they're out of context, etc. I'm gonna let you guys be the deciders of that. But let's listen to these two clips from y'all's boy. That's y'all's boy. That's y'all's boy, Jimmy Dore, saying that Kyle Rittenhouse, he did the only thing that he was able to do, self-defense.
Again, that's more bullshit. And now I'm going to show you. So now you know the whole story, that Kyle Rittenhouse was chased. Actually, the evidence presented now looks like it was self-defense, 100%. And he was out there putting out fires in dumpsters and cleaning up graffiti. And he didn't carry the gun across state lines. And also all this stuff. And the people he shot were white, and they were all attacking him. Everybody he shot was attacking him. House against a mental patient who was attacking him, and his friend who had a gun who was shooting it. So he shot that guy. And then he started running away to get the cops, as he told that guy on video. Where you go? I'm going to get the cops. Which he was. He was headed towards the cops. Mob starts following him, yelling, "Get his ass." They do. They punch him in the back of the head. He finally falls down. Then they start kicking him. Guy kicks him in the face. Another guy hits him in the head with his skateboard and grabs the gun. Now, that guy said, "I was trying to de-arm him." That's a weird way to try to de-arm someone. That start hitting him in the head with a right? That's a weird way so that was silly to do that. Well, I think we all start attacking a guy with a gun, and that'll work. You mean he wasn't actively shooting anybody? He was running away. They caused this. He was running towards the cops.
Running towards the cops. That's what your boy Jimmy Dore says, that Kyle Rittenhouse basically had no choice but to kill two people that night, because despite the fact that he was pretty much there illegally already, underage, past curfew, violating curfew, illegally carrying a weapon under the age of 18. And in addition to the fact, this motherfucker, nigga, you ain't even from here. What the fuck are you doing in Kenosha in the first fucking place, Kyle Rittenhouse? And again, it's so simplistic to the point of absurdity, right? Like that is the foundational argument here. Like literally 2 people would be alive if Kyle Rittenhouse had just obeyed the law and stayed the fuck home. But there's all sorts of apologies and all sorts of excuses. And it does not shock me for 1 second that Jimmy Dore would recognize, I guess, the white fragility in Kyle Rittenhouse and empathize with that, because over and over again, that is exactly what the fuck happens. These specific, it seems to be primarily white men, and no disrespect to the many white men that we have supporting this platform. Y'all know I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about suckers like Jimmy Dore. I'm talking about suckers like Bill Maher. These motherfuckers who get in, who platform themselves as being far left of, at least left of traditional establishment Democrats, of establishment liberals, right? But give a little time. Give a little time to get comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Get the feet up, you know, get they following into the millions. All of a sudden, you're going to start seeing and hearing them platform either right ideals or right personalities, right? So for Jimmy Dore to have all of this seeming compassion for Kyle Rittenhouse, someone who has been embraced by the right wing as this vigilante hero, like someone who is being like Kyle, you understand that the right is ready. I mean, they've already embraced Kyle Rittenhouse, but they're ready to make him like a fucking vigilante superstar, like an anti-Antifa superstar, right? Kyle Rittenhouse probably has all kinds of speaking engagements and book deals and podcasts and all shit just waiting for him to cash in and capitalize on, right? So it's almost sort of the trial is almost a pretense, right? Because all this shit is just waiting for him, and this system that enables people like Kyle Rittenhouse is just salivating at the chance to elevate him into rock star status. And Jimmy Dore is helping to enable that, right? This motherfucker is guilty. Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty. Like that shouldn't even be in question. And the fact that he stands a very good chance of being acquitted, notwithstanding, he's still fucking guilty. He still killed 2 people that he didn't have no business out there killing in the first place. And I can't say I'm disappointed by somebody like a Jimmy Dore, because at the end of the day, Jimmy Dore and Bill Maher and all these people, they go come on home to the white comfort. They go come on home to where it's comfortable. Show is comfortable over there in white comfort land, baby. It don't get no more comfortable than that, right? And in the ways that Bill Maher helped to elevate people like Ann Coulter and Steve Bannon and who is that other little piece of shit? Richard Spencer. That's his nigga, right? I mean, not an actual nigga, but I'm talking about white supremacists. Like, I mean, these are all people that Bill Maher, brought on over the years and let's hear the fascist side of things, right? It seems to me as if y'all mans, Jimmy Dore is adhering to the exact same script, right? Let's hear what the fascists have to say. And I understand. Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick and let me give credit where credit is due on this, because my good sis Wendy Muse, Wendy is the host of the Left Pocket podcast, and Wendy has been tweeting specifically about the ways in which Jimmy Dore is very much a faux radical, right? Like a faux leftist radical who has been from time to time will stick a toe into some far right wing shit. And let's see, what date was this? This was, hold on, let me see my dates correct. We get live, get by. This was maybe like a month ago, but your boy had, or at least he played a speech, an anti-vaxxer speech, right? And I understand, okay, I'm not going to get into the whole shit about the vaccination or whatever. Like, I understand he supports like ivermectin, even though he himself is vaccinated. Okay, nigga, you want to play both sides of the fence, knock yourself out. I don't have time to do all the mental gymnastics. Now you can play them games all you want to. But he played an anti-vax speech from a member of parliament, from MEP for the Alternative for Germany party. Okay, the Alternative for Germany party is very right wing, very anti-immigration, and their goal is to restore German pride. Now, to the point that Dore says that the reason that he even allowed an excerpt from the alternate for Germany, Alternative for Germany party to be played, is because I think in part he claimed that he didn't know that they were a far right wing group. Oh, okay, then you should maybe do your Googles a time or two, right? But at the same time, I guess his whole goal was to allow both sides of the story, right? And to me, I mean, some shits there is not both sides of the story. I think for the vaccine, there could be an argument about that. But when you allow even the smallest, or what some would consider even small points by fascists to come on your platform, right? To sort of let's hear them out kind of shit. Nigga, that you're on a very slippery slope, sir. You're on a very slippery slope. And if you don't believe me, CC Bill Maher. Because I look at any so-called liberal, leftist, or progressive who goes on Bill Maher show in the year 2021. Like, you don't know this motherfucker's a raging Islamophobe. You don't know that he's very high-key, low-key racist. You know what I mean? Like, Bill Maher thinks because he has sex with black women, he can use the N-word. If you don't get the whole fuck out my face, Bill Maher with that bullshit. And your man's Jimmy Dore is about to go out sad, just like that. And if y'all don't believe me, mark my words. Mark my words, because it's inevitable. It always happens. It always happens. He doesn't strike me as a John Brown Brigade white. And as a non-John Brown Brigade white, he is going to act accordingly. he's gonna cash in. He's gonna be just like y'all boy Joe Rogan. He about to Joe Rogan the whole situation, but from left center. And I know that a lot of people, right? Thank you, Molly. He does not have the Googles. And I think a lot of people, at least if you're here on my program, you would agree with that. And I have to say this, even to our white viewers, whom I know y'all get it. Y'all wouldn't be here if y'all didn't fucking get it, right? So there's a lot of shit I don't even bother to explain or even try to make caveats or any of that, because I already know if you're a white person and you are here, I don't have to do a whole lot of a fucking explaining. Like you already get it. You already get it. But when Jimmy Dore does good shit like force the vote, which I thought was, cool. It was cool. It was cool, right? Don't mistake that for Jimmy Dore actually being on the freedom side of people like me. I don't know a whole. Well, actually, that's not a lie, because I saw Pookie Wood. I'm not gonna say it aloud, Pookie Wood, but I saw your comment from a little while back, Pookie Wood, and I peeped that, and I'm not gonna repeat it. But let me say, if Jimmy Dore does use his platform to elevate the voices of non-white leftists, then that is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and he should do way more of that, as opposed to hearing the perspective of one of the most far-right political parties in Germany. What the fuck does listening to them niggas actually contribute to the forward progress of the movement, right? If you want to find ways to align yourself or have common ground with the far right ring, or even center right assholes, which, by the way, the Democratic Party does all the goddamn time, every single fucking election cycle, the Democrats are trying to find ways to connect to those in the middle, aka conservatives, because there is no such thing as moderates in this country. Okay, there isn't. I just refuse to believe that, because even Democrats very much are conservatives, and conservatives are very much fascists. So if you want to find common ground with conservatives, ask yourself why you want to find common ground with fascists, basically. So anyway, your man's on some corny shit. Let me just say that, because I was corny as fuck. You want to defend this little murderous clown who killed people and who is going to be rewarded immensely by the white supremacist system, be it in the form of media, be it in the form of name, image, likeness, all that crazy shit, like all that. If you thought that George Zimmerman got a ridiculous amount of attention and money after he was acquitted for killing Trayvon Martin, what's going to happen with Kyle Rittenhouse is going to be miles beyond that, like miles and miles and miles beyond that, because he's young, he's babyface, and he's unapologetic, and he's unrepentant. And he and his, what I believe will be inevitable exoneration, is going to further enable and embolden these right-wing white vigilantes to show up at protests designed to advocate for the freedoms and justice and equality for Black people. And they're going to try to kill more people. Okay. And Kyle Rittenhouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin was not the only example in 2020 of this happening. If you guys remember, July of 2020, one of the saddest stories really to come out of last summer that I believe we all know about, but again, because there was so much happening last year, I think some of it sort of fell through the cracks. Okay. So in Austin, Texas, July of 2020, young white comrade, 28 years old, his name is Garrett Foster. Garrett was there with his fiancée at a Black Lives Matter rally, protest, march. There with his fiancée, who was African American and disabled. She was a wheelchair user. Okay. And let me just sort of refresh you all's grasp of the facts that happened there. Today, I'm looking at C3, my brother. All right. So at a Black Lives Matter protest last year, Austin, Texas, July of last year, 28-year-old Garrett Foster was there with his fiance. Garrett was on the side of righteousness, right? Garrett's out there in defense of Black lives. Garrett understood that he was in dangerous territory in Texas. So Garrett was out there carrying. Garrett had a long gun. I'm not sure if he was actually carrying an AK, but he did have a long gun out there because he said that there had been prior threats to demonstrators at different races, at different marches, rather. So this clip that we're about to see is from Now This News, and this is from last year. And it's going to be one of the witnesses that was at the protest that night, the night that Garrett was shot and killed, recounting and discounting some of the narrative, the early part of the narrative that began to come out, that Garrett had pointed his weapon at this man, antagonized this man in some way. The alleged killer, by the way, initially just reported to be an Uber driver. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to say initially just reported to be an Uber driver, but the initial reports were that the person who allegedly shot Garrett, and I say allegedly because I'm a journalist, not because I don't think the motherfucker did it. Okay, I definitely think the motherfucker did it, but I say allegedly because the journalism training is still ingrained in me. The person that allegedly shot Garrett, my bad. It initially was reported that he was an Uber driver, but it turns out that actually he has a very more detailed job with the government that I'm going to tell you guys after we check out this clip from Now This News. Take a look.
The thing I want to make extremely clear, the driver intentionally and aggressively accelerated their vehicle into a crowd of people. He incited the violence, period. Turned over my shoulder and I saw sticking out of, fully extended out of the driver window was his left arm with a handgun in his hand, and I watched several more shots get fired. I saw the orange flashes off the top of the gun. I don't know whether or not Garrett pointed his gun at the vehicle. The driver called 911 the moment he started driving away. He knows how to play the system, clearly, because he called the authorities, he got his story in first. That's how you play these things, to try to get in as least trouble, the smallest amount of trouble possible. Out of the 5 bullets that he shot, 3 of them went into Garrett. You cannot tell me that was not intentionally aimed at Garrett.
That clip from Now This News. And yeah, guys, so how come is Jimmy Dore going to put up a cape for that dude? For the dude who shot Garrett Foster in Austin, Texas? I mean, hey, Garrett had a gun. What else was the guy going to do? By the way, the person who is charged now in Garrett Foster's murder, not an Uber driver, yes, but in addition to being an Uber driver, if you could put up, I think it's C4 tune date, he's an Army sergeant. Army sergeant, yes. Daniel Perry was legally armed, according to the Texas Tribune, was legally allowed to carry his weapon, but as was Garrett Foster. So, you know, Texas, everybody can carry legally, apparently. But the argument that Army Sergeant Perry is making is that obviously this was a case of self-defense. And this is the shit I'm talking about, right? So, I mean, you have to make it make sense. Like, if someone like Jimmy Dore is going to throw on a cape for Kyle Rittenhouse, why not for this guy? Why not for Sergeant Perry, who, by the way, was trying to turn down a street that had been blocked off for the protest, perhaps trying to engage in what a lot of motorists did at protests and places all across the country, intentionally trying to aim their vehicle and run people over, right? In a number of states, shit, the GOP controlled legislatures legalize that shit, right? If you hit a protester in your car, you don't have to, you might be good. Might not nothing happen to you. So throw on that cape, Jimmy Dore. If you gonna throw on a cape for Kyle Rittenhouse, then go ahead and throw on your cape for Army Sergeant Perry, who shot and killed Garrett Foster while he was out there, simply trying to defend those that were out there for Black Lives Matter. Now, by the way, Sergeant Daniel Perry is facing these charges. I think the DA, a Travis County grand jury, yes, he was indicted by a grand jury and was released on bond the same day he was arrested. I think he had a $300,000 bond, released on bond the same day. So we about to see how whiteness is going to work in this situation as well. But again, this to me is not so unlike what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. This is white on white violence. You know, we don't really hear a lot about that white on white violence too much, do we? It's all about black on black crime. Very seldom about white on white violence. And tragically, both of these situations in Austin and in Kenosha are white on white violence. But again, the white supremacist part of the white versus the John Brown Brigade part of the white, right? Garrett, like I was looking at some of the clips of people from that night and people were devastated because even though Garrett had not lived in Austin very long, I think he had moved there 2 years ago from Dallas. Like he and his fiance had already become fixtures on the activist scene. They had been present at every single demonstration in 2020 up until that point during that tragic night in July. And if the Army Sergeant Daniel Perry is asserting self-defense, the same as Kyle Rittenhouse, like then basically where does it end, right? Anyway, I can't. It's a little too much. It's too much. And Molly said there's a bunch of Jimmy Dore apologists in the fucking chat. Now let me explain something to y'all, Chief. Let me explain. You got to go worship your God somewhere else, okay? Like. And I think that's dope. Listen, all you Jimmy Dore stands, y'all want to show up and throw on capes for your man. That's nice. I think that's really cute that you do that. But your man is about to be Bill Maher in about 6 months. So maybe instead of over here trying to run interference and trying to correct me and shout out to Chuck Diesel, you better be thumping these niggas up out of here. Okay, we don't have time for no ridiculousness. Tell your mans, you know, let's not entertain the views of fascists. Let's not coddle armed, murderous white supremacists. You understand? Like, if the only solution that Jimmy Dore has about Kyle Rittenhouse's guilt or innocence is that he was out there and the reason he had to kill two people as a result of self-defense, sir, I think you misunderstand the situation entirely, right? If that's the conclusion you come to, then I think you were already wrong on this way before, because it's really shameful that somebody can be easily swayed by, I guess, right-wing talking points and the defense of a good lawyer, because I guess Kyle Rittenhouse has got a good lawyer. His lawyer got 2 charges already dismissed. His lawyer must be doing a fine job out here. If Jimmy Dore can be so easily be persuaded, then I ask you as Jimmy Dore followers, how the fuck are you so easily persuaded? Like, how are you so easily persuaded by this nigga? Make it make sense. All right. I have run my mouth quite a bit, but there was one more thing that I wanted to get to. And you know what, Tunde? I don't know. What's your time like, Tunde? How many people we got in here? I did want to take a moment because obviously the other big trial that is happening and getting far less attention by mainstream outlets, at least from my vantage point, has to do with the killers of Ahmaud Arbery, the McMichael father and son duo, along with the other redneck buddy, who basically hunted Ahmaud Arbery and lynched him in a modern day lynching. There's no other way to describe that. They chased Ahmaud down under some bullshit premise of trying to conduct some sort of citizen's arrest. By the way, how come every time in every single fucking report I see about the McMichael brothers and their accomplice, like the whole they were trying to make a citizen's arrest thing is just sort of glossed right over, like, oh, well, they were trying to make a citizen's arrest. Nigga, when the fuck you ever seen someone make a citizen's arrest in real time? Like, when have you ever seen it actually happen? When have you ever seen it ever happen, period? And when have you ever seen it, if you've ever seen it happen, when have you ever seen it happen successfully, right? I mean, to me, that's some fucking Fugitive Slave Act holdover, right? I'm gonna make a citizen's arrest because I suspect this nigga of being out without permission. If you don't get the whole fuck out of here, sir, we see that for exactly for what the fuck that is, right? And so to the extent that obviously Ahmaud Arbery was murdered by white supremacists, obviously trying to continue to hold up white supremacy, his lawyer, or one of the lawyers for the defendants, is on that same mode, right? And we talked about this last week, where the attorney, one of the defense attorneys, made, well, I can't even say he made a motion because he clarified that actually this was not a formal motion that he was making, but he just wanted to be on the record, I suppose. Why in the hell is all these black pastors coming in here supporting the family of a murder victim? I mean, for God's sakes, don't they have enough pastors? Don't they have pastors locally? This does not meet our white people approval. We do not approve of the way that this family is grieving after their loved one was murdered unjustifiably. We don't agree with that, and we need this very much on the racist record. Is how it came across, okay? And for the lawyer to reference specifically Reverends Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, you know, is pushing all the racist white people buttons. Only one he was missing was Farrakhan. All he had to say, then he left out and knew was Farrakhan, because you know that's the white people radical Negro trifecta right there. Like they're like, according to racist whites, there are no more radical black people than Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and Louis Farrakhan. You know, I gotta say like the racists say it, Farrakhan. They love fucking up Mr. Farrakhan's name. Farrakhan. All right, yeah, so all they was missing was Farrakhan. So the defense lawyer got up, I guess this was yesterday in court. And, you know, Reverend Jackson showed up because, you know, you can't call Jesse name and expect Jesse not to be there. You gonna name check Jesse Jackson, Jesse gonna show up, period, point blank. You don't give a fuck. Jesse Jackson is 80 years old. Jesse Jackson just fell down at the campus of Howard University, hospitalized. He gets recovered from COVID. He has Parkinson's, and you name check Jesse Jackson, and Jesse Jackson gonna show the fuck up. And you know what? I respect that. I do. I respect that. Let's take a look real quick, if we could, today. This is gonna be B3. So this is Reverend Jackson in the courtroom. And defense attorney Goff is going to do this again. Yes, I'm reading the text accompanying the tweet, but this is from the trial of the killers of Ahmaud Arbery, whom, despite having only one black juror, seems to have a tremendous amount of issue with any black faith leaders of any sort of prominence showing up to give comfort to the family of Ahmaud Arbery. This is racist as shit. Let's take a look at that today.
This time we would ask that the Honorable Reverend Jesse Jackson, I believe is still here. Of course, he is, Your Honor, I think we all know, an icon in the civil rights movement. Not just a witness to it, he is the personification of it. And in other circumstances, I think everybody would be happy to have their picture taken, maybe get an autograph. But in the context of this trial, we object to his presence in the public gallery inside the courtroom. We note that there is a jury assembly room capable of holding, depending on how we socially distance, several hundred people, where these proceedings are being televised live in real time. The issue that Ray brought up previously is, how many pastors does the Arbery family have? We had the Reverend Al Sharpton here earlier, last week, and I'm not keeping track, and I think the court has indicated the court doesn't intend to ask anyone to keep track of who was in the gallery. But I don't know who Mr. Jackson, Reverend Jackson, is pastoring here. My understanding is, and I was given names, that the Arbery family have local pastors. They also have attorneys. Mr. Arbery, Marcus, has a team of lawyers to comfort him through these proceedings. Certainly, Ms. Cooper has been amply comforted by her legal counsel.
Yep. So, unlike racists who are unashamedly racist, by the way, and who, by the way, also have no problems doubling, tripling, even quadrupling down on the racism, because we can't give these black people some sort of unfair advantage. I mean, the presence of a noted luminary in the gallery is clearly biased towards the black people, right? Because, I mean, black people get far too many advantages in this system already. It's outrageous. It needs to be on the record, Your Honor. It needs to be on the record. But, so there's that part about it. Tunde, if you could pop up B4 for me also. So there's these elements of this sort of making the trial a bit of a spectacle and deflecting the attention from where it should be, right? I guess if this is the lawyer's aim, the lawyer is doing a very good job. If the lawyer is himself trying to further racialize a very racist case, a racialized case in which the victim is black, the assailants themselves were white, and the attack obviously was completely unprovoked. Like, I feel like the attorney ratcheting this part of it up is obviously deliberate, and to what end? I'm not really sure. Perhaps he's just trying to play the odds that, hey, there's a bunch of white people on this jury. There's a very good chance, some of this shit I'm saying about Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson is landing. But it was Al Sharpton that this attorney called out first. And this is what Reverend Sharpton tweeted. Reverend Sharpton said, in the wake of defense attorneys attempting to ban black pastors from court, civil rights leader Al Sharpton has called for clergy across the ecumenical lines to meet him Thursday outside of the courthouse in Glenn County, Georgia. So when I saw that, it really made me think, right? And what it made me think about was a clip that was circulating recently around Twitter from Kwame Ture, right? And it had to do a lot with visibility versus power, with being able to organize an event versus being able to organize power, right? And I wanted to play this. So in the context of what we just saw, what we just heard, obviously the very racist shit coming from the defense attorney, and Reverend Sharpton and Reverend Jackson obviously showing up there to show and extend support for the family. But beyond that, like what does that really do? And I feel as though Kwame Ture really put things into good context. If we could play B5, please, Tunde.
Mobilization is very easy. Very, very easy. Because since we're people who are instinctively ready to respond against acts of injustice, anytime there's one little act of injustice, we can blow it up and we'll find people who come and make some mass demonstration around it. Miss Sally lost a job. Let's rally. She'll get her job back. People will come and rally. So-and-so got kicked out of school because the teacher's unjust. The unjust. The people will come and rally. They will come to rally at issues. And this is what mobilization does. It mobilizes people around issues. Those of us who are revolutionary are not concerned with issues. We're concerned with the system. The difference must be properly understood. The difference must be properly understood. Mobilization usually leads for reform action, not to revolutionary action. If we would look scientifically at the October 16th million and more march, we would see clearly that this was a mobilized event, not an organized event. We must know clearly the difference between mobilization and organization. One of the characteristics of mobilization is that it is temporary. Organization is permanent and eternal. Clear differences must be made because the unconscious can usually be captured easily around one-issue items, around mobilization items, but it's hard to catch them around organization. But these unconscious must be brought to organization. We must transform mobilization to organization. We say the enemy will come and use mobilization to demobilize us. Many brothers and sisters who've been to the Million and More March will say to you, I was there. Well, what are you doing today, my sister? I was there. There weren't too many sisters out there, but you know, with 1 million brothers together, you know where I had to be. I was there. Yes. And then, of course, you find brothers, yeah, I was there. I helped you. What are you doing today, brother? If we're not careful, we allow mobilization to become events. The struggle is never an event. It's a process, a continual, eternal process.
Can y'all please ask Kwame Ture to stop dragging me from the grave, please and thank you, because Lord have mercy, that was me like a week or two ago, straight up on Black Power Media on the Remix Border Show, reminiscing about the Million Man March, October 16th, 1995, and talking about exactly that. I was there. Kwame Ture just dragged me and said, well, sis, what are you doing today? You was there. What are you doing today? Well, today I'm hosting a platform, hopefully, where we can elevate conversations and elevate voices and be more aware of struggles so we can help to get free. And I'm very also proud not only of what we do here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown, but what we do over on Black Power Media as well. But circling back to what Kwame Ture was saying specifically about mobilization versus organization, I can respect the work. I know I'm kind of lonely on the left when I talk about respecting the work that Al Sharpton and Reverend Jackson do, because largely a lot of people view them as opportunists, as people who are corporate activists, basically. Like, and Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson are not apologetic about that at all. Like, they'll tell you they're trying to get money out of these corporations to obviously fund their own foundations, and hopefully some of that money gets to the people that need it also, right? And I am not one to discount the work that Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton have done. But when it comes to what Ture was talking about, mobilization versus power, Al Sharpton can mobilize 100 Black clergy in front of that courthouse. How does that change the racial dynamics of that jury? How does that change the fact that obviously, despite the fact that Black people have the right to vote, not enough of them either are registered to vote in that county or were called to serve as part of that jury? That is a power dynamic that simply mobilization cannot fix, right? And this is the crux of this. Like, so do we further organize within this system, for example, to try to get more Black people registered to vote so more Black people can be part of the jury pool? Or does that shit not even fucking matter when at the end of the day, the prosecutor is white, the defense attorney is white, the judge is white? Like, they are going to uphold that white supremacist system regardless of how well organized we are on the outside. So I just wanted to drop that as a little nougat, a little grain of thought, because I wonder, and we shout out Jared Ball on this, like the whole notion of the after party that Jared Ball has spoke about. Go over to Black Power Media and get caught up about the after party. Another way for us to organize around our issues specifically outside of the two-party system, but it still requires us to work within the system, right? And do we try to continue to work within the system? Are we going to get free in 500 more years by voting? Or should we burn the fucking system down and start some new shit? I vote for the latter, but I will participate in the former if that's what all the rest of y'all want to do. if we're in agreement that we're going to try to vote for the next 500 years and get ourselves free, well then, anyway, that's another conversation. Guys, thank you all so much for rocking with us in overtime. Thank you all. Listen, if you are watching us on Twitch for the first time, hi, come get some more of this. We got some more of this right in here for you. Oh, should I refocus? Boop, boop. Did it refocus? Boop. Okay. Okay. So anyway, Tunde told me to stop moving my hands because it's fucking up the camera. But anyway, hello Twitchers. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to Sarah H. Who else did drop us some bread? Molly. Oh, and James. James, thank you so much for your Cash App and your Venmo. we appreciate that. And thank you all so much for watching. Come on over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Follow us places around the internet, BIDWKB, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch now, and we're also on TikTok as well. Guys, join me tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Remix Morning Show over on Black Power Media, along with Kalanji Changa, Kamau Franklin, Dr. Jared Ball, Jacqueline Luglon, and of course the Air Doctor. We'll see you for the Remix Morning Show tomorrow morning. On behalf of Tunde and Male, thank you guys so much for rocking with us over here. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Enjoy your Tuesday, guys. Okay. Hey, I'm sorry. Listen, the reason I came back up is because right before we logged off, Tasia dropped us $300. Tasia, thank you so much for that incredible donation. Tasia says, Kim is the greatest. She has my support and admiration. Thanks for all you do, Tasia. Thank you so much. That is incredibly kind and generous. And on behalf of Tunde and Molly, I said, Tunde, you gotta put me back up. Jesus, I gotta thank Tasia for that. Thank you, Tasia. Thank you all for all your support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for your support, your subscriptions, everything. Okay, now we're gone now for real, y'all. See you later. Bye-bye. Thank you, Tasia. Wow.